Welcome back. Hope everybody's doing well. I wanted to hold off on this brace ruling until we got some good news about it. And it seems that we have some good news, or at least potentially good news, depending on how you look at it. I also didn't feel the need to do a brace video at all because there's so many people out there doing fantastic, just excellent videos on this stuff, keeping us updated, letting us know what these rulings are, how ludicrous they are. But for the sake of the 2A community, here comes another update. So just as a timestamp for y'all, it's February 9th, 2023. And again, the Biden administration is being sued. More than 20 states have banded together for this. Many guns rights groups and a disabled Army veteran sued the Biden administration over this new brace ruling, and rightfully so. So in North Dakota, the lawsuit was filed in federal court. So this is against the, again, finalized ruling by the ATF. And some of the statements in this documentation here are fantastic. They're talking about the ATF's ruling on this pistol brace accessory arbitrary and capricious, which in fact it is. And as everybody already knows in the 2A community, it violates our constitutional right to bear arms. And when I say our, I'm talking about everyone, the people. And of course, as we all know, the pistol brace was marketed in a big way to disabled veterans, or really the disabled community, who were unable or found it very difficult to be able to practice their Second Amendment rights because of their disability. And so the brace was, in effect, a solution then for the disabled community to be able to then fire their firearm, now in an accurate way where they could now hit their target, practice gun safety, and in many ways be able to continue to enjoy themselves in the sport of target shooting, and now be able to defend themselves and protect themselves and their families. But in this new rule finalized on January 31st by the ATF considered any barrel length shorter than 16 inches, and now you've attached this brace to your firearm, it is considered now a short-barreled rifle. And their reasoning is because they have declared that it is now designed to be fired from the shoulder. And here's the deal. They have provided this weird, wonky solution that you can either destroy your firearm, you can turn it into the ATF, you can become a felon is another option that they offer to the community. Or again, you could wave your flags and say, hey, look, I've got one of these things that you consider now a felony to have without registration. Here I am. I would like to register this thing that I have. And they'll give you some numbers on wait times, and they've instructed everyone to now register these things with the ATF. And it really is a trap, because if you don't do it within the time frame, you're now a felon for having one of these things. Now, if you do it within the time frame, you may have to wait for an extended period of time. They've only given, from what I remember, 120 days. And registration for these things, even if you try to get a silencer, has been known to be extremely backlogged. They don't have the capability in order for you to register these things within their arbitrary timelines. And so now you're telling them, here I am, I have one, do what you will. And they will. And they have before. And so when I say this is good news for the 2A community, these lawsuits need to be happening consistently. At the drop of the hat, they can take away your rights. And this just should not be. They should not have that type of power and authority to create and make a ruling like this. And really, in effect, it feels like a law, because if you break one of their rules, there are legal consequences. And now this whole thing with the brace has become a fiasco. And y'all who have been following this, you know exactly what I mean. They said it was okay. They said it was not okay. Then they said to fill out a certain form, the $49.99. And then they said, don't worry about that form, just don't shoulder it. And then they said you can shoulder it as long as it's sporadic. And then they made their final ruling, and now you're a felon if you have one without registering it. And they've set up a trap. And so that's what I mean by it's a fiasco. Some of the other things stated in this lawsuit, though, is fantastically worded, stating the braces are objectively designed and intended for use by individuals with disabilities. And the rule, in effect, will ultimately impact everyone, including individuals who may have served, fought in the war, and maybe have come back maimed, and now their gun rights are being taken away from them. And that's really what this rule is doing. And again, another statement here. says we should not be making it harder for senior citizens and people with disabilities and many disabled veterans to defend themselves. And again, if it was simply just a free registration and register it as a short-barreled rifle, fine. But it's not that. It obviously is not that. There are many videos, and you can watch these and find out very, very quickly that the ATF absolutely has set up a trap. And in some of these videos, they'll meet with personnel from the ATF, and the ATF agrees and says, yes, there will be legal consequences and action taken against an individual if it exceeds the time frame that they set, that arbitrary time frame. But even if that wasn't the case, and you could just register it and fine, everything's hunky-dory, they'll pay the $200 tax stamp for you, and you're great. That still makes it almost impossible within that wait time for people with disabilities, or like it said, maybe a senior citizen, and it's just difficult. They don't want to take their weapon out that's not registered, right? They're law-abiding citizens. They're not going to take their weapon out within that wait time, and that wait time could be, some of y'all know, some of the snail mail for the suppressors. People were telling me it was 2 years before they got their suppressor. And so really what they're doing, they're making it extremely difficult for the law-abiding American citizen to exercise their Second Amendment right to bear arms. And y'all don't need to hear this from me. You probably hear this all the time. But with these new gun safety laws and gun safety measures and these assault rifles, or so named, by anti-gun people who have no idea what an AR is, never held one or fired one, and these common sense gun laws, and the people advocating for these things just wholesale without thinking for themselves. Within all of this, now the ATF has piggybacked on this stuff, and it's gaining traction. And so for me to see that 20 states have now filed a lawsuit and high government over this, it's a win for me. It's not just a partial win. It's not just a step in the right direction. This is what needs to happen. And we, the people, also need to be speaking out against this and speaking up against it as well. This can't happen here. Okay, and that's all I got for you guys. Until the next time and the next win, do what's right and stay safe.